Chaos erupted live on GB News as host Michelle Dewberry exposed what can only be described as staggering hypocrisy from London's mayor. The confrontation centered on Sadiq Khan's wildly different reactions to political protests versus cultural festivals. While quick to condemn violence at the Unite the Kingdom rally, he completely ignored far greater chaos at the Notting Hill Carnival. The panel was left speechless as they revealed the shocking double standard. 25 arrests at the protest versus over 500 at the carnival. Watch the clip. First off, if you haven't jumped on board yet, hit that subscribe button and join this little family that's growing thanks to you.
Were you at that rally at the weekend, Unite the Kingdom? According to many people in the media, the turnout for that rally was 150,000 max. Well, as I'm talking to you, I shall be playing to you some aerial footage. This one was captured by The Guardian. Now, I do confess I am indeed a spectacle wearer, so I do need a bit of help with my vision. But even from what I can see, this looks like monumentally more people than 150,000 people. Bottom line is, scores and scores of people turned out to the streets. This rally reached millions of people, whether on the streets or watching on streams live. The primary thing that they were protesting about was a free speech rally. It meant different things to different people, Barry Gardner. Yeah. But one of the core tenets that united a lot of people, that they were anti your government. When you see those images, what do you feel?
Look, I take the rally very seriously, and I take the messages that members of the public were trying to convey very seriously. You're right to say that there were a mixture of reasons that people were there. That some were talking about free speech, some were talking about what they perceived to be a two-tier society, some were disaffected for other reasons, and of course immigration was a key theme. And I think all of those things need to be addressed. And I think it was a great shame that although there were so many people there who wanted to exercise the right of free speech quite properly, that was spoilt by a minority who then engaged in violence, the 26 police officers that were injured. I think what they did was to spoil what otherwise was a rally for people to get their point across quite properly in our society, and to use the virtue of free speech that we have here in order to do that. But I was very concerned that an American multimillionaire was able to then spread words of violence and urged people to fight back or die.
Well, I want to explore all of those points.
I thought that was really wrong, that somebody from abroad in particular should be trying to incite people in this country to fight and to overthrow its government in that way.
I mean, I want to...
That's not free speech. That is abuse of free speech.
I want to address all of those points, actually. But I found it quite interesting that one of your key takeaways, you say that the arrests of those moronic people who assaulted police officers, there's no justification, quite frankly, for assaulting frontline police officers.
Exactly.
You know my thoughts on frontline police officers. And if you are one of those people that got arrested, you are a disgrace. You should be ashamed of yourself. That didn't spoil the event, though. And one of the things that I found really interesting, Sadiq Khan, he posted a tweet after the Notting Hill Carnival. Yeah. And he basically tweeted, let me look at the one that he did after the Unite the Kingdom. He said, "My thanks go to the officers policing protesters today. Most protesters were peaceful, but a number of officers were assaulted and arrests have been made. Violence and attacking police officers is completely unacceptable." So this does seem to be a consistent Labour line to tackle this and highlight and focus on the 20-odd arrests that were made. Unacceptable to attack the police officers. But why then? So just to give you some context, I think there's been about 25 arrests for the Unite the Kingdom rally. Notting Hill Carnival, 528 arrests, 200 of which, by the way, was at Children's Day, ladies and gents. This is how the Labour Mayor of London describes that. The world-famous Notting Hill Carnival returned to the heart of West London this weekend. Londoners and visitors came together to celebrate our Caribbean communities. The streets were alive with music and joy, showing the best of our city and the power of culture to unite us. Not a single mention there, though, about the violence that did that, and that completely dwarfs the number of arrests at the Unite the Kingdom rally. So I find it fascinating that so many people, off the back of this rally, which, by the way, I found quite uplifting and inspiring, that rally, I've got to tell you. But why focus on that small, tiny, disgraceful minority that disgrace themselves, quite frankly? Anyway, Zia, you, sir.
That's a great point. I think it's an excellent point, really well articulated. The hideous hypocrisy of the Mayor of London in, frankly, turning a literally blind eye to the manifold more greater number of people who were arrested at the Notting Hill Carnival relative to the protest that we saw at the weekend. Look, number one, I think the mainstream media reports about the numbers there understate the true numbers. Number two, I'd echo your point, Michelle, that anyone assaulting police officers should be thoroughly ashamed of themselves, and we obviously condemn that. But we saw lots of union flags, and there are a lot of people who are just ordinary people. You saw Trevor Phillips, of all people, from Sky News, who actually gave to his credit, an accurate assessment of the people who were there. Notably, Sky News appeared to have deleted the tweet because he was doing such big numbers and people were actually giving them credit for it. So, of course, Sky News deleted it. But look, was obviously a large number of people, a vast number of people who came together to protest against the policies of this government, probably to some degree, actually, the policies of the previous government as well. Basically just saying, look, we love our country and we want it back. We are tired of being classed as second-class citizens in our own country. And sadly, going back to the earlier points that we made, so long as the UK is a member of the ECHR, foreign courts will determine our laws and not us. So long as we have not disapplied those international treaties, foreign courts will determine our laws.
Do you condemn the foreign billionaire who actually incited people saying violence is coming, you need to fight back or die? Will you condemn that?